I was contacted by Phil Fondacaro, and I think there was a couple of guys saying that we have an audition coming up, and I just gotten married. I just got back from my honeymoon, and it was within the week of getting back from my honeymoon that I got this phone call. So it's perfect. I gotta try and work for any job in this business of union work of getting a SAG contract is great. And this was a union job, and I tried out, and I started doing a character like that, and I was Alligator, and that it won somebody over, so I guess I got the job. And I forget how many other guys were on the audition, but they didn't have to come back because I was the guy.
The way I found out was that Phil Fondacaro, who had been an established actor, had called me. He called his friend, say, look, they're doing this film. They're looking for little people to be costume characters. And so I met with John Beekler and the people, I think it was Atlantic, and I got the job. So I got fitted for the part. And I didn't know anything about the Garbage Pail Kids. So I started buying some of the cards just to get familiar with the cards. I'm like, what the hell? These are gross. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be pretty cool. This was actually my first creature effects gig, or my suit job. And because I came from computers and doing IT stuff, and my boss was really cool. She would let me off to do acting gigs every so often. But this was my real, first movie creature effects thing. And so Phil recommended me, and I got the job, and it was like, what am I doing in this costume? It's hot.
Rod Scott, I know he was strapped for time on this, and he wanted it, in his sense, he wanted us as just because we were ugly, we were very cute. We were very wholesome. And I was always I didn't want that. I wanted to be tough. And he always had to come back and says, no, you're only like you're 8. You have to still remember you're 8. But I'm an alligator at 8 years old. I'm still eating antelope. It's just, we go off to a biker bar. We're drinking root beer. It's just, it was, I think Rod's vision was, I can see his vision of that we're 8 years old and we're cute. I would have liked to have seen us a little bit more like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. A little bit more cool. Hey, dude, cool, yeah. It just wasn't happening.
Rod Amato was one of the nicest guys, one of the nicest directors I've ever worked with. Very general, very gentle, considerate. Well, always worried about the little people in the suits, because these suits were really hot. We were sweating like hell. You guys need breaks? Okay, take the heads off with their heads. And that was their joke, off with their heads. And right away, the crew was very nice. They brought us waters and fanned us down with blow dryers, with the heating element taken out. So it was really nice. But no, Rod was very, very patient and understood that this was hard work for us little people. The other cast members in the suits, Kevin Thompson, Debbie Carrington, Susie Rosito, Larry Green, Bobby Bell, but they all had their own little personalities, little characters, and they evolved in their suits. Debbie Carrington was always a crack up, always laughing in the suit. I think Debbie was Rod Amato's favorite, because he would always call her the lovely Debbie Carrington. Here she is, Miss Debbie Carrington. I'm like, oh, come on, what about us? Aren't we lovely too? Come on, we're busting our asses too. But anyway, Kevin was funny as Alligator. He had that voice, toe time, it's really funny, and he really got into the character. Bobby Bell as Baby, Baby, I can't remember anyway, but he was funny. I'm the baby, Susie Rosito as Messy Tessie, right? She was a snotty girl, always wiping her nose. Debbie Carrington was Valerie Vomit, always throwing up. Larry Green was Nat Nerd, with all the zits in his face. He was a great character. And then me farting all the time, Winston. Windy Winston! I don't know. This'll make him wake up!
You okay? You sure took a bad fall.
What are you?
Well,
Mackenzie was neat because at the time, what was neat about Mackenzie was that Patty Duke was president of SAG at the time. So she would come down and be with her son, and then I was a big fan of the Addams Family. So every now and then John Astor would come down too. So it was like, whoa, this is cool. We have celebrities coming in, and you forget that Anthony Newley was great. We did a part. They started realizing that Alligator, they liked that I would ad lib a lot of my lines, so Anthony Newley could work with me on that ad lib, because a lot of actors are kind of stuck to the script of where your line, my line, your line, my line, and especially when there's 7 of us, it would go Wendy, it'd be Art's line, Susie's line, Phil's line, my line, and if I'm over there ad-libbing, they're going, wait a minute, who's talking now? Whereas when they specifically just wrote a scene for Anthony and myself of where I could just go off book and both of us just ad-lib the whole thing. It was like, wow, you guys, and the puppeteers all came over and said, you know what they're doing? But I would always catch what was happening with my character more from the puppeteers and the makeup people. Not so much John Beekler, but the puppeteers being Greg Johnson and Scott Coulter, who were my puppeteers at the time. And Scott and I would, he caught on to my ad-libbing, and he would go, because I was not controlling my own mouth. So as my ad-libbing was going, he was controlling it with a, I want to say archaic, because it was like a push-pull type of, because the mouth is so big, you couldn't do it with an RC unit. So it'd have to be it was a cable. And so when we would come in there, you'd have to hide the cables, and you can look at the movie and see if you can see the cables. That's a good one. Go back and see how many times you can see the cables. I haven't seen them yet, but you never know. You might see those cables. But he would have to move it and the mouth would move. But we became like a team. He could really go with my ad-libbing.
Well, the process of getting into character and there really isn't a lot to it. I mean, yes, the piece is heavy. First, they would put our wardrobe on. I was kind of stuffed with foam or cotton to make me look a little bigger and bulkier. The jeans were just regular jeans, very baggy, and regular tennis shoes, very easy. The animatronic head was very heavy. I can't remember how heavy, maybe 15, 20 pounds, and it was all custom made for us. It fit us just right. We had live casts done of our heads, so the sculptors and the engineers at MMI could construct the head around our heads. But it was almost like inside was almost like a football helmet, plastic headpiece with straps on our chin, and then I remember seeing rods holding the rest of the form, and then rubber. Then inside, of course, you had the servo motors, and they were so loud it was very hard to hear direction from Rod. I mean, you hear this. You ever play with an RC car? You can't hear the gears grinding, and that's all you could hear. So a lot of times, they would say, "Cut." We keep going. Cut. Then they finally, or they'll have to, "Hey, okay, we've cut." So, but it was quite an experience. I mean, you did sweat a lot. It was a very physical and demanding job. But trying to portray that character, to make it come through the headpiece and the character, that was a challenge for me, especially because it was my first time. Oh, I'll tell you something funny about that. They used my voice for Wendy Winston because production loved the sound coming out of the headpiece, the animatronics, the big piece. And so we had to do some looping. So we go back to looping. I'm thinking, okay, oh great, I don't have to wear the damn thing again. In comes Wendy Winston's head. Art, you need to put this on. Like, why? Because we love the way you sound inside the headpiece. Damn. So I did all my looping with the helmet on, with the Wendy Winston head.
My God, it's Cousin Charlie.
Hey, put this back. Please don't touch this.
See, not a lot of us, we couldn't see. And so what you do when you can't see in the outfit, it's not like we're looking at each other now. We cannot see. The actors in the outfits really cannot see. So we propped open a little bit of the mouth just to see just a little bit. But even then, it's a tunnel vision, and you can only see. They were seeing out a little bit of the mouth, but a lot of the outfits that I've done, you can't see. So what you do is you rehearse without your outfit on, and production doesn't want it. Production wants the outfit on, but you have to get the geography of the scene. I have an actor here I'm talking to, I have an actor here I'm talking to, but I have to know where, I'm talking. I'm not talking over here, because I have to listen to where the voice is. And then you've got mechanics going inside the head. I have to remember my lines and remember, who's else got, when there's more than two people talking, you have to remember I'm coming in after so-and-so, and you've got this head in there. So it was, and you've got to bring the body language too, because Alligator had a definite testosterone body language. And so you have to keep that of not going, losing that in that sense. But you can't see anything, but then people can see you. A lot of times you'd be like this and they go, hey, are you tired? You're like, oh gosh, my body language was showing that I was tired. Because the head was very heavy and it was all out in front of me. All my weight was, there was probably, put a 10-pound weight on your nose, and that's what it felt like. And a lot of these, of those characters, those heads were quite heavy.
So some of the challenges being in a headpiece like that was being able to see or hear. We would not see out of the eyes. We would only see out of the mouth. So we kind of had to look down to see our path. Sometimes I'd have to draw like a line or put a piece of tape down to make sure that we follow a path, a certain path, so we don't bump into camera or into other actors. The biggest challenge, though, for me was actually riding the motorcycle, the quad. And what was nice, though, they had actually custom made the peg so we could fit the motorcycle properly. But actually driving it around the stage and the studio was very difficult because, you had to see out the mouth. So sometimes you'd have to prop up your head just to see, okay, there's nothing there, okay, go, So it was quite difficult, but fun. I don't know, it was stunts. Okay, one of the most difficult things that I had to do in the headpiece was actually, trying to climb up in the bar, or the bar top in the bar, and actually trying to land the punches just right to the other actors and missing them. My friend Joe did the stunt coming through the window, and then we picked up where he crashed, and I just kind of climbed and ran on top of the bar, punching people, farting on people. I was worried that, the bar is only this wide, and it's am I gonna fall this way, this way? So I had the guys, the actors, look, if I fall, spot me. Don't let me hit myself, on the floor. That's a long way down for me. So they were very conscious about that, and just trying to throw the punches and missing them was a big challenge because, like I said earlier, you can't see worth a damn. So it's like you kind of see the bar on the bottom here through the mouth, and then you kind of cheat a little bit, look up, and then okay, there's so and so. I got to turn now, and I have to punch. Bam. So it's all about timing and pacing and being careful as well. I'm glad I didn't fall off that far though. That was a long way down.
Take this!
Hey, Windy, all right, my man. Watch out with that.
Oh, take it! I'm gonna pancake the Hold it!
Dude, nobody got hurt. We had some flames, I think. There was rain. I think one day we had to shut down because of the weather. It got windy and rainy, and the bounce boards were flying all over the place, and so we just had to, that could have fallen on somebody very easily. But nobody really. The only one was I think Susie she fell down because we had gone out for a long lunch, and we went to Mexican food and had some margaritas. she wasn't drunk. She was just a little silly. And so when she fell down, she was just laughing so hard she couldn't get up. It's that silliness. She wasn't drunk. She was just silly. And we were all, and in those outfits, hey, do you blame us? And it was a tough shoot, and I'm surprised nobody's back gave out on it. It was because it's a lot of weight, and you're moving that around. You've got to really do your stretch exercises beforehand, and it can get, you're tired by the time it's done.
You got a one-track mind.
I got a fast-track mind.
Hey, pass some mustard.
Pass the onions and garlic. Oh, no. Look at
God bless you.
Allie, you ate my burger.
Was that yours?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah? Prove it.
I can't. You ate the evidence.
Yeah, tough toothpaste.
What's the matter?
My tummy hurts.
What did you eat?
Everything.
That'll do it, all right.
My reaction to the release of the film was like, wow, where are the people? I went there with my ex-girlfriend and her parents. They're all excited. Oh my gosh, we have an actor in the family, So we go to this movie theater. I think it was in Alhambra somewhere, and nobody in the theater. I take that back because there was one couple behind us because my girlfriend's mother says, "Hey, that's Art. He's in the movie." I'm going, oh no. But yeah, it was sorry to say that it didn't do so well. When it first released, I really don't know what made it flop. I think people weren't ready for that kind of entertainment. Maybe they weren't. I think maybe they were expecting more, a film based on the real cards and not a sweet, loving song comedy film. I think they were expecting a slasher movie maybe, or blood and guts, and what they got was a disappointing sing-along. I don't know. I mean, that's my impression, that it just fell flat. But like what we were talking earlier, there's a cult following now. It's so popular now. They love it. They relate to their kids, and now the new generation is viewing this film, and they're picking up on it. The cards are coming back again. I've seen some of the artwork that's been done recently, and kids are eating this up. And even, what's happening is that parents are sharing their movie experience. This is what I saw when I was your age. Check this out. And these kids now, I was reading an article today, prepping for this interview, that these kids watch this film like 4 or 5 times. At first, this one lady said, "Oh, you gotta watch this." I'm not interested. All of a sudden, the kid goes, "Oh, this is cool," and watched it 4 or 5 times. There's something about it that attracts. It's so weird, strange, that it captivates people. It captures their viewing.
It's amazing. The movie is amazing of that it has legs. It didn't have legs in the theater, but now years later, it has legs, and it's getting legs again, which is wonderful. It shows that maybe Rod had a vision that people did like, that the critics didn't like. And hey, Citizen Kane was that way too. So maybe we are the new Citizen Kane of creature effect movies. When I do talk about this film to different, I don't really talk to the fans about it. I'll talk to the fans of like I'm on a different set. And you talk about, hey, what were you in? What have you done before? This and that. So you say your resume off and on and this. And then I'll say Garbage Pail Kids. And people go, were you like the body double for the card? And I'm like, no, we did a movie. And they're like, they did a movie? I collected the cards. I didn't know there was a movie. So that's sad that people who had the card didn't realize that there was a movie out there. And then they go, or they'll have the other thing, they go, there was people in those things? And you go, well, yeah. They didn't realize that there was a person inside of that, an actor, in there portraying Gator. And, you know, I was doing the voice. They got that one. And so I'll do the voice for him. All right, more like that. Yeah, I gotta get that like that. Been a couple of years. But and then they're like blown away of going, whoa, I was watching you and I didn't know I was watching you.
And, you know, I'm glad I did this film. I don't say, you know, it's not something that I regret. I think it's brought in the audience that love this kind of film, and I'm glad I was part of the film.